Chosen one, if you keep seeing this message, it is not an accident. It is not a coincidence. It is not the work of chance. I have been calling your name long before you press play, and now I'm asking you one question. How many more signs will you ignore before you realize I have been speaking to you all along? Listen carefully. Do not skip this message, because what I'm about to reveal now can change everything you think of. If you leave now, you may miss the answer you have been praying for. You have been asking me for direction, but you have mistaken my whispers for ordinary moments. You have prayed for an answer, yet when I placed reminders before your eyes again and again, you call them coincidence. My child, I do not waste moments. When I repeat something, it is because your heart needs to hear what your mind has been trying to silence. I see the questions you never ask anyone. I know about the nights when sleep refuses to come because your mind is filled with fear. I know about the smile you wear while hiding the weight you carry. Others may see confidence, but I see the tears you have never allowed to fall in front of anyone. Have you wondered why the same message keeps appearing? Why the same verse comes back to your memory? Why your spirit refuses to settle, even when everything around you seems quiet? Have you considered that I am not trying to frighten you? I am trying to awaken you. My voice does not always come through thunder. Sometimes it comes through a gentle reminder that refuses to leave you alone. Sometimes it comes through a message like this because I know exactly when your heart is ready to listen. Remember what my word says in John 10 verse 27. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. If you are hearing this today, perhaps it is because I have been calling, and today you have finally stopped long enough to listen. Do not believe the lie that you are forgotten. If I were finished with you, I would not keep reaching for you. Every time you thought you had wandered too far, my mercy walked farther. Every time you felt unworthy, my grace remained greater than your failures. Some of you have been asking, Lord, where are you? Yet I ask you, where has your attention been? Have you been looking for me only in miracles while overlooking me in the quiet places? Have you expected dramatic signs while ignoring the gentle convictions I placed inside your heart? I have not been silent. The noise around you has simply become louder than my voice. But today, I am cutting through every distraction because I love you too much to let you continue without hearing what I have prepared to tell you. Type Amen if you receive this message. Do not mistake my patience for my absence. I have been working in places you cannot see. While you were wondering why the door remained closed, I was protecting you from walking into rooms that would have broken your spirit. While you questioned the delay, I was preparing you for a blessing that required a stronger heart than the one you had yesterday. Think about the seasons you wanted to escape. At the time, they felt unbearable. You cried, you questioned, and you wondered if I had forgotten my promises. Yet today, you can see that those very moments taught you lessons comfort never could. What you called punishment was often preparation. What you called rejection was my protection. My child, why do you believe every voice except mine? Why do you allow fear to tell you that nothing will change? Why do you let your past convince you that your future has already been decided? Have I not said in Jeremiah 29 verse 11 that I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope? The enemy wants you to believe that because you have fallen, you cannot rise again. But listen to me. Falling is not the end when your hand is in mine. Even when you stumbled, I did not stop loving you. Even when you wandered, my eyes never left you. My mercy has followed you through every valley, every disappointment, and every silent battle. Some of you have become so accustomed to surviving that you no longer expect joy. You wake up preparing for another disappointment. You have learned to guard your heart because life has wounded you more than once. But I did not create you merely to survive. I created you to know my peace, my presence, and my purpose. Remember what is written in Isaiah 41 verse 10, asterisk, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Those are not empty words. They are my promise to you. My promises do not expire because of your doubts. They do not lose their power because you have grown weary. I remain faithful, even when your strength is gone. Tell me, how long have you been carrying burdens I never asked you to carry? Why do you insist on holding tomorrow in your own hands when I have already gone before you? Why do you replay yesterday's failures as though my forgiveness was not enough? Every burden you refuse to surrender becomes a weight that steals your peace. I never intended for you to carry your fears alone. That is why my word says in 1 Peter 5 verse 7, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Not some of your worries. Not only the small ones. All of them. There are people listening right now who have whispered prayers through tears. You smiled in public, but when the room became quiet, your heart cried out, Lord, how much longer? You thought no one heard you. You believed your tears disappeared into the darkness. But I collect every tear. I hear every silent prayer. Not one cry has escaped my attention. Do you remember when you almost gave up? When you thought there was no reason to keep believing? Yet somehow you found the strength to take one more step. That strength did not come from you alone. I was holding you when you thought you were holding yourself together. Look back over your life. There were moments you should not have survived. There were battles that should have destroyed your faith. There were disappointments that should have hardened your heart forever. Yet here you are, still breathing, still seeking me, still hoping that your story is not over. That is because I have never stopped writing it. Never measure my faithfulness by what you see today. A seed buried beneath the soil looks lifeless, but beneath the surface, roots are growing where no human eye can see. In the same way, I am working beneath the surface of your life. You may not see the change yet, but that does not mean nothing is happening. Remember Romans 8 verse 28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Notice that my word says all things, even the heartbreak, even the delay, even the mistakes you regret. When you place your life in my hands, I can weave together what seemed impossible to repair. So do not allow discouragement to convince you that I have abandoned you. The chapter you are living now is not the conclusion. It is preparation for a testimony that will remind you, and everyone who hears it, that my timing has always been perfect. The question is not whether I am speaking. The question is whether you are willing to trust my voice when it leads you beyond what feels comfortable. Will you obey before you understand? Will you keep walking even when the path ahead is hidden? Because faith has never been about seeing the entire journey. It has always been about trusting the one who already knows the destination. Many people are waiting for certainty before they obey me. They say, Lord, show me everything first, then I will trust you. But my child, that is not how faith grows. Faith is built one step at a time. If I showed you the entire journey, you would depend on what you see instead of depending on me. Remember Abraham. I called him to leave everything familiar without revealing every detail of where he was going. Yet because he trusted my voice more than his fears, he became the father of many nations. Your obedience today may open doors that generations after you will one day walk through. Ask yourself this: what have you allowed fear to steal from you? How many opportunities have you walked away from because you assumed you were not enough? How many dreams have you buried because someone else's opinion became louder than my promise? I never created you to live imprisoned by fear. Fear tells you that failure defines you. I tell you that my grace can rewrite your story. Fear says, you have missed your chance. I say, my mercy is new every morning. Fear whispers, you are too weak. I remind you that my strength is made perfect in weakness, as written in 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. Some of you keep asking me to remove every storm from your life. But consider this: if I removed every storm, how would you ever discover that I can calm the wind? How would you know that I can carry you across impossible waters? Some of the deepest revelations of my love are found in the moments when everything around you seems to be falling apart. Think about the disciples on the sea. The waves were crashing. The wind was fierce. They believed they were about to perish. Yet I was there with them the entire time. When I spoke, the storm obeyed. The wind recognized my voice. The sea surrendered to my command. If creation obeys me, why are you afraid that the situation in your life is beyond my power? My beloved child, there are storms that exist not to destroy you, but to reveal me to you. In your greatest struggle, you often discover my greatest faithfulness. In your deepest valley, you learn that I truly am the shepherd who abandons his sheep. You have been measuring your future by your present circumstances. Stop doing that. A winter season does not mean spring will never come. A long night does not stop the sunrise. In the same way, the pain you feel today is not permanent. I have appointed a season for healing, a season for restoration, and a season for joy. Remember what David declared in Psalm 30 verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Notice that weeping has a season, but so does joy. Do not build your identity around a painful chapter. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by the one who created you. So lift your eyes from your disappointment and fix them on me. Stop counting everything that went wrong and begin remembering every time I carried you through what seemed impossible. The same God who opened doors before is still able to open them again. The same God who healed broken hearts is still healing today. The same God who breathed life into dry bones still speaks life into hearts that have nearly given up. And now I ask you once more, if you know I have never failed you, why do you believe I will begin today? Keep your eyes on me, for I am leading you into a season where your faith will become stronger than your fear, and your testimony will become greater than your pain. Do not rush the process I have you in. I know you want immediate answers. I know you wish every prayer could be answered the moment you speak it. But if I gave you everything the instant you asked, you would celebrate the gift and forget the giver. There are treasures that can only be received by a heart that has learned patience, humility, and complete dependence on me. Have you noticed how often you ask me to change your circumstances while I'm trying to change your heart? You pray for a different environment, but I am shaping a different spirit within you. You ask me to remove every obstacle, yet many of those obstacles are becoming the very tools I will use to strengthen your faith. Look at a piece of gold. It is placed in the fire not because it is worthless, but because it is precious. The fire removes what does not belong so that its true beauty can shine. In the same way, some of the pressure you have experienced does not come to destroy you. It has come to remove pride, bitterness, fear, and everything that keeps you from becoming the person I created you to be. My child, stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Begin asking, "Lord, what are you teaching me through this?" That question will change the way you see every trial. Instead of seeing only pain, you will begin to recognize purpose. Instead of seeing only delay, you will begin to recognize preparation. Remember what my servant James wrote in James 1 verses 2 to 4. Count it all joy when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. I never said the testing would be easy. I said it would produce something valuable within you. Some of you have become discouraged because you compare your journey with someone else's. You look at their success, their family, their opportunities, and you quietly wonder, "Lord, why not me?" But you do not see the battles they fought in secret. You do not know the prayers they prayed through tears. More importantly, you do not have the assignment I have given them, just as they do not have yours. I have never measured your worth by how fast you arrive. I measure your faithfulness by whether you continue walking with me when the road is long. A race is not won in the first few steps. It is won by those who refuse to quit. There are dreams you have nearly buried because disappointment has spoken louder than hope. I want you to dig them up again. Not every dream born from pride, but every dream I placed in your heart. The purpose I gave you has not expired. The calling I placed upon your life has not been canceled because of your mistakes. Did Moses not make mistakes? Did David not stumble? Did Peter not deny me? Yet I restored them because they were willing to return to me. Their failures did not have the final word. My mercy did. So stop allowing yesterday to imprison tomorrow. I have already forgiven what you keep condemning yourself for. Why do you continue carrying chains that I have already broken? Why do you keep standing outside the door when I have already invited you inside? Come closer to me. Lay down your regrets. Lay down your fears. Lay down the heavy expectations that have exhausted your soul. You do not have to earn my love. You do not have to perform to receive my grace. I loved you before you ever understood who I was, and I will remain faithful because that is my nature. The day is coming when you will look back on this season and realize that what felt like my silence was actually my careful guidance. Every delay had a purpose. Every tear watered the ground for a future harvest. Every prayer you thought went unanswered was being woven into a story that will reveal my glory in ways you cannot yet imagine. Do not let your heart become hardened because the answer did not arrive when you expected it. A hardened heart can stand in the middle of a miracle and still believe nothing is changing. Guard your heart, my child, because what grows inside your heart will eventually shape the direction of your life. You have asked me, Lord, why does it seem as though everyone else is moving forward while I remain in the same place? Listen to me carefully. You are measuring progress by what your eyes can see, but I measure progress by what is happening within your spirit. A tree does not produce fruit the day after it is planted. Before anyone sees the branches stretch toward the sky, the roots are reaching deeper into the ground. That is what I have been doing in your life. I have been strengthening your roots. I have been teaching you to trust me when applause is absent. I have been teaching you to remain faithful when no one notices your obedience. The world celebrates what is visible, but heaven celebrates what is faithful. Remember what my word says in Galatians 6 verse 9. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Notice those words, at the proper time. Not at the time fear demands. Not at the time impatience insists, but at the time my wisdom knows is best. There are blessings that would have crushed you had I given them too soon. There are opportunities that would have distracted you from your purpose if they had arrived before your character was ready. I do not prepare blessings only for my children. I also prepare my children for the blessings. Have you ever watched a farmer sow seed into the ground? He does not dig it up every morning to see if it is growing. He trusts the process. Yet some of you pray once and then spend every day digging up your faith with worry, doubt, and fear. You cannot plant trust and water it with anxiety. Instead, water your faith with my promises. Speak my word over your life, even when your emotions disagree. Praise me before you see the breakthrough. Worship me while the answer is still on the way. Anyone can rejoice after the miracle appears, but faith rejoices because it knows I am faithful before the miracle is visible. Think of Paul and Silas in the prison. Their hands were bound. Their feet were chained. The doors were locked. Yet instead of surrendering to despair, they lifted their voices in praise. Then the earth shook, the chains fell away, and the prison doors opened. Sometimes your breakthrough begins, not when your circumstances change, but when your heart chooses to trust me in the middle of the storm. My beloved, I know the tears you have hidden from everyone else. I know the disappointment you carry when another day passes without the answer you long for. I know the quiet moments when you ask yourself, Lord, are you still listening? Yes, I am listening. I have heard every whispered prayer. I have seen every tear that fell onto your pillow when no one else was around. I have watched you fight battles that no one even knew existed. I have seen you choose kindness when you were wounded. I have seen you forgive when everything inside you wanted revenge. I have seen you hold on when every voice around you told you to let go. Nothing you have endured has escaped my attention. There is a reward for faithfulness that the world cannot understand. The world rewards performance, but I honor perseverance. The world notices popularity, but I look at purity. The world is impressed by appearances, but I search the heart. So keep walking with me. Even if the path seems lonely, you are not alone. Even if others misunderstand you, I understand you completely. Even if the journey feels longer than you expected, remember this: I have never brought one of my children this far only to abandon them before they reach the promise. Trust me a little longer. Believe me a little deeper. Stay close to my voice, because what I am preparing for you is greater than anything you have left behind. My child, there is something I need you to understand with all your heart. The greatest battles in your life have never been against the people around you. They have been against the thoughts that quietly entered your mind and tried to convince you that you were alone, forgotten, and without purpose. That is why I tell you in Romans 12 verse 2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Before your life changes, your thinking must change. Before you walk in freedom, you must stop agreeing with the lies that have kept you in bondage. How many times have you called yourself a failure because of one mistake? How many times have you looked in the mirror and believed you were not enough? Who told you that your value comes from your achievements? Who convinced you that one painful chapter defines your entire story? I never said those things about you. I call you my child. I call you chosen. I call you loved. I call you redeemed. When you begin to see yourself the way I see you, chains begin to fall that no human hand could ever remove. Shame loses its voice. Fear loses its grip. Hopelessness begins to fade because my truth is stronger than every lie that has been spoken over your life. Do not allow your past to become an idol that controls your future. Yes, you have made mistakes. Yes, there are moments you wish you could erase. But if I have forgiven you, why do you keep reopening wounds that I have already healed? Look at Peter. After denying me 3 times, he believed his failure had disqualified him. Yet when I met him again, I did not begin by reminding him of his worst moment. I restored him. I entrusted him with purpose. I showed him that my grace is greater than human weakness. That same grace is reaching for you today. Perhaps you have been carrying guilt that no one else knows about. You have smiled through conversations while secretly asking yourself, can God still use someone like me? Listen to my answer. Have I not always chosen imperfect people to accomplish my perfect will? Moses doubted. Gideon was afraid. Jonah ran away. Thomas questioned. Yet I remain faithful to each one because my power is not limited by human weakness. My power is revealed through surrendered hearts. So stop waiting until you feel perfect before you come closer to me. Come as you are and allow me to transform you. A physician does not ask the sick to heal themselves before entering the hospital. In the same way, I do not ask the broken to fix themselves before coming into my presence. Bring me your fears. Bring me your disappointments. Bring me your unanswered questions. Bring me the dreams you think have died. Bring me the pieces of your heart that you have been trying to hold together on your own. There is nothing you place in my hands that I cannot restore according to my perfect will. Remember my promise in Joel 2 verse 25, I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Think about those words. I did not merely promise to give you another day. I promised restoration. I am able to redeem what seemed wasted. I can bring beauty from ashes, hope from despair, and purpose from pain. One day you will realize that what looked like the end was only the place where I began building a stronger foundation beneath your feet. The tears you cried were not signs that I had left you. They became prayers that reached my heart. The waiting was not empty. It was filled with my unseen work. So when fear returns and whispers that nothing will ever change, answer it with my word. When doubt tells you to give up, remember my faithfulness. When your strength begins to fail, lean into my presence instead of your own understanding. For I am still speaking. I am still leading. I am still restoring. And I am not finished with your story. Do not forget this, my beloved. The enemy is not only after your peace, he is after your confidence in me. If he can persuade you that I have abandoned you, he does not have to stop your future. You will stop yourself. That is why you must be careful what you allow to live in your heart. Every thought does not deserve your agreement. Every fear does not deserve your attention. Every voice does not deserve your trust. Ask yourself this, when fear begins to speak, whose voice have you been believing? Mine, or the voice of discouragement? When anxiety tells you that tomorrow will only bring more pain, that you stop to remember how many tomorrows I have already carried you through. Look back for a moment. There were days when you believed you would never smile again, yet here you are. There were nights when you thought your strength had run out, yet I gave you enough grace to face another morning. There were prayers you thought I ignored, only to realize later that I was answering them in a way you could not yet understand. Has my hand become too short to save? Has my power grown weak? Have I ever failed to keep a promise that I truly made? No, my child. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. The God who made a way through the sea still makes a way where there seems to be none. The God who fed his people in the wilderness still provides for those who trust him. The God who called Lazarus from the grave is still able to breathe life into the places you have declared dead. Perhaps you have been mourning something that has not truly died. Perhaps you buried your hope before I finished writing the story. Remember Mary and Martha? They believed they had reached the end because Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days. But I was not late. I arrived at the exact moment my glory would be revealed. Some of you are living between the promise and the fulfillment. That place can feel lonely. It can feel confusing. It can test every part of your faith. But do not despise that season, because it is there that trust becomes deeper than emotion. Remember what my word says in Proverbs 3 verses 5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Notice that I did not ask you to understand everything. I asked you to trust me. Understanding often comes after obedience. Peace often comes after surrender. Strength often comes after you admit that you cannot do it without me. So stop carrying the pressure of trying to control everything. You were never created to be your own savior. You were created to walk with me. When you place every concern into my hands, you make room for my peace to fill the places where fear once lived. I know the future that frightens you. I know the questions you cannot answer. I know the names you still remember. I know the disappointments that still sting when you think about them. Yet I also know the blessings that are already on their way. I know the doors I am preparing to open. I know the people I am positioning to encourage you. I know the strength I am building inside you, even though you cannot yet see it. So do not give up 5 minutes before your breakthrough. Do not throw away years of faith because of one difficult season. The darkest hour of the night is never permanent. Morning always comes, not because people wish for it, but because I have appointed it. In the same way, I have appointed a season of restoration for every child who refuses to let go of my hand. Hold on a little longer. Keep praying even when you do not see immediate results. Keep believing even when your feelings tell you otherwise. Keep standing on my promises, because my word does not return empty. Every promise I have spoken will accomplish exactly what I intended, and when the time is right, you will understand why I asked you to trust me through every step of the journey. My beloved child, I want you to slow your heart for a moment and truly hear what I am saying to you. You have spent so much time asking me to speak that you have forgotten still enough to listen. My voice is not lost. It is your attention that has been pulled in too many directions. Remember what is written in Psalm 46 verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. I did not tell you to be still because I wanted to leave you waiting. I told you to be still because there are truths you can only hear when your heart stops running ahead of me. Why are you carrying tomorrow before tomorrow has even arrived? Why are you fighting battles that have not yet come? Every hour you spend worrying about a future you cannot control is an hour you are not resting in the presence of the one who already holds that future in his hands. I have never asked you to predict the future. I have asked you to trust me with it. Look at the birds of the air. They do not wake up wondering whether I will remember them. They simply live under my care. Look at the flowers in the field. They do not struggle to make themselves beautiful. I clothe them with splendor that no king could create. If I care so deeply for what blooms today and fades tomorrow, how much more do I care for you, my beloved child, whom I formed with my own hands? So why do you keep believing that you are forgotten? Who convinced you that your prayers have reached an empty heaven? Who told you that your tears fall where no one sees them? Every tear you have cried has been noticed. Every prayer you have whispered has been heard. Every act of obedience that no one applauded has been recorded in my sight. Nothing you have done for my name has ever been wasted. Some of you are exhausted because you have been trying to earn what I have always offered freely. You strive for peace instead of receiving it. You chase acceptance instead of resting in my love. You keep asking, Lord, am I enough? While I continue answering, my grace is enough for you. Stop measuring yourself by the standards of this world. The world tells you to prove your worth. I tell you that your worth was settled the moment I created you in my image. The world says you must be perfect to be loved. I loved you while you were still learning to walk with me. Do you remember the prodigal son? After wasting everything, he rehearsed a speech, believing he no longer deserved to be called a son. But before he could finish speaking, his father ran to embrace him. That is my heart toward every child who returns to me. I am not standing at a distance with folded arms. I am looking for you with open arms. If you have wandered, come home. If you have grown weary, come home. If you have allowed shame to convince you that you no longer belong, come home. There is no distance so great that my love cannot reach you. There is no darkness so deep that my light cannot shine into it. There is no brokenness so severe that my hands cannot restore it. Remember my promise in Isaiah 43 verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned. Notice that I did not promise you would never face deep waters or fiery trials. I promised that you would never face them alone. So the next time fear knocks on the door of your heart, answer it with faith. The next time discouragement whispers that nothing will ever change, remind it of my promises. The next time you feel too weak to take another step, remember that I am carrying you even when you cannot feel my hands. One day, the very season that almost caused you to give up will become the testimony that strengthens someone else. They will look at your life and see my faithfulness. They will hear your story and discover hope for their own. They will realize that if I could bring you through your darkest valley, I can surely bring them through theirs. That is why I've asked you to keep trusting me. That is why I keep reaching for you. That is why you keep seeing this message. Because I am not finished teaching you, strengthening you, and leading you into the purpose I prepared for you long before you ever knew my name. And now, my child, I want to reveal something that many people never understand. Not every closed door is a rejection. Some doors are closed because I can see what is waiting on the other side, even when you cannot. How many times have you cried over opportunities that disappeared? How many times have you begged me to reopen doors that I intentionally closed? At the time, you called it heartbreak. You called it failure. You wondered why I remained silent. But if you could see what I was protecting you from, you would thank me for every answer that sounded like no. There are prayers I answer by saying wait. There are prayers I answer by saying not yet. And there are prayers I answer by giving you something far better than what you asked for. Do not confuse my wisdom with my absence. A child may not understand why a loving father refuses to hand him something dangerous, but the father's refusal is not a lack of love. It is love in its purest form. In the same way, there are things you have desired with all your heart that would have become burdens instead of blessings if I had placed them into your hands too soon. My timing is never random. My delays are never meaningless. My plans are never careless. Everything I do is shaped by my perfect love for you. Remember what Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11 declares. He has made everything beautiful in its time, not in your preferred time, not in the world's schedule, but in the perfect time that only I can see. My beloved, I know that waiting can be painful. I know what it feels like to watch others celebrate while you are still praying. I know how difficult it is to keep believing when another day passes and nothing seems different. But let me ask you this. Has waiting changed who I am? Has time weakened my promises? Has delay diminished my power? No. The same God who fulfilled his promise to Abraham after years of waiting is still your God. The same God who remembered Hannah's tears is still listening to yours. The same God who stood beside Daniel in the lion's den and walked with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace is standing beside you right now. You may not see me with your natural eyes, but my presence has never left you. When you felt abandoned, I was beside you. When you thought no one understood your pain, I understood every heartbeat. When you cried in the silence of the night, I was closer than your next breath. Do you remember the footprints in the sand? There were seasons when you looked back and saw only one set of footprints. You wondered why I left you during your hardest days. But my child, those were not the moments I abandoned you. Those were the moments I carried you because you no longer had the strength to walk. Stop judging my love by your circumstances. Judge your circumstances by my love. The cross already settled how deeply I love you. You never have to question whether you matter to me. You never have to wonder if I care. The price that was paid for you is greater than anything this world could ever offer. So when doubt whispers, look to the cross. When fear rises, remember the empty tomb. The resurrection is your reminder that I specialize in bringing life where others see only endings. I can restore hope that has been buried. I can breathe purpose into dreams that seem impossible. I can make a way where there appears to be none. That is why I keep calling you. That is why I keep reaching for your heart. Not because I want something from you, but because I want something for you. I desire to give you a peace that circumstances cannot steal, a joy that trials cannot destroy, and a faith that will remain unshaken even when everything around you changes. So do not turn away now. Stay close to me. Continue seeking my face, even when you cannot immediately see my hand at work. For every step you take in faith is bringing you closer to the moment when you will look back and say, "Now I understand why God asked me to trust him." The complete message tells one continuous story of God speaking directly to a chosen one, assuring them that repeatedly encountering the message is a divine appointment rather than a coincidence. God reveals that he has been calling, guiding, and protecting them all along, even when they felt abandoned, confused, or unheard. Every repeated sign, every quiet conviction, and every unanswered question is presented as evidence that God is actively pursuing their heart. The teaching explains that many of life's painful experiences, delays, disappointments, closed doors, loneliness, rejection, and seasons of waiting, are not proof of God's absence but part of his preparation. God reminds the listener that his timing is perfect, and that what appears to be rejection is often divine protection. Through examples such as Abraham, Moses, David, Peter, Paul, and Silas, Lazarus, the prodigal son, Daniel, and others, the message demonstrates that God consistently uses imperfect people, difficult seasons, and impossible circumstances to reveal his glory and fulfill his promises. A major theme throughout the message is the battle of the mind. God teaches that the greatest enemy is often fear, doubt, shame, anxiety, and the lies people believe about themselves. He urges the listener to renew their mind with his word, reject negative thoughts, stop comparing themselves to others, and see themselves as he sees them, chosen, loved, forgiven, and deeply valued. True transformation begins when a believer trusts God's voice above every other voice. The devotional also emphasizes surrender. God invites the listener to stop carrying burdens they were never meant to bear, and instead place every worry, regret, fear, and unanswered prayer into his hands. He explains that faith is not built by seeing every detail of the future, but by taking one obedient step at a time, trusting that he is already working behind the scenes. Waiting is portrayed as a season where God develops character, deepens faith, and prepares his children for blessings they are not yet ready to receive. Throughout the message, God repeatedly assures the listener that he sees every hidden tear, hears every whispered prayer, remembers every act of faithfulness, and has never abandoned them. He reminds them that his love was proven through the cross, his power through the resurrection, and his faithfulness through every promise in Scripture. Every delay has a purpose, every trial has meaning, and every painful chapter is part of a greater story that will one day become a testimony of God's goodness. The overall message is one of hope, restoration, and unwavering trust. It calls the audience to remain faithful, keep listening for God's voice, reject fear, embrace his promises, and continue walking with him. In the end, the listener is assured that God is still speaking, still leading, still restoring, and still writing their story. Their present pain is not the end of the journey, but preparation for a future where they will clearly see that God's plan, timing, and love were perfect all along.